You may have seen ... showing up in JavaScript programs recently. So what is ... Well, it's an operator. Well, actually, it's two operators, and which operator is used when you write ... depends on the context. Sometimes ... is the spread operator, also called the spread syntax. The spread syntax comes in handy in a lot of different ways, particularly when you're working with arrays. Let's do some examples to see how this works. I'll create two arrays with flavors of ice cream. The first array is our current flavors, and the second array is the new flavors we want to add to the menu. Now, what if I want to concatenate these two arrays? Well, I could use the concat array method like this. When I concat flavors and new flavors, I get a new array with all the items from both arrays. This is where I can also use the spread operator to concatenate the two arrays. What I do is write out the array I want and use the spread operator ... in front of flavors and in front of new flavors. This tells JavaScript to expand these arrays and add each item from the arrays to the array I'm creating. The end result is the same. I get an array with each item from both flavors and new flavors. Of course, I can easily write that the other way if I want to switch the ordering. Now, what's the big deal? This isn't much easier than using concat. Well, this operator also makes it easy to write code like this. Here, I'm creating another array, other flavors, and I want to insert the items from new flavors in the middle. Again, I can just use the spread operator to do that. So now the result in other flavors is we see chocolate chip first, then the flavors from new flavors, and then mint chocolate chip. So that's actually really handy. So when you see ... used with an array like this, it means take the items from the array and expand them as elements into another array literal. This also works when you're passing array items as arguments. Let's see how that works. I'll create a function ice cream that has three parameters, f1, f2, and f3 for three flavors. Now, if I just pass flavors, the array, to ice cream, the f1 parameter gets the entire array, and f2 and f3 are undefined. You probably expected that. What I'd like instead is to use the items in flavors as arguments to match the parameters f1, f2, and f3. So I could write out flavors at 0, flavors at 1, and flavors at 2 as the arguments. When we do that, we get the expected result. F1 is strawberry, F2 is vanilla, and F3 is chocolate. Or I can use the spread operator. Instead, I can write ... flavors here for the arguments, and that expands the flavors array into its elements and passes strawberry to F1, vanilla to F2, and chocolate to F3. Of course, caramel gets expanded too, but because there's no parameter for a fourth flavor, that argument just gets ignored. One important thing to note about the spread operator is that it only expands arrays one level deep. So let's say I have an array of arrays, like this one, with pairings of flavors. These are ice cream flavors that go well together, at least in my opinion. Now let's say I want to create a new array of the pairings with a special pairing that's only available this week. I can use the spread operator in front of the pairings array like this, and add on another array pairing, chocolate chip and caramel. Try it, it's really good. In this case, the ... spread operator only expands the pairings arrays one level, so that the end result, as you can see here, is that I get an array with three elements in it. Each one is an array which is a pairing of two ice cream flavors. Now, you might be wondering if you can use the spread operator with objects too. Yes, you can. Let's say I have an object shop with two properties, name and hours, and they're both strings. I want to create a new object, shop info, that combines the shop object with a new property menu that is an array of all the flavors. I can do that like this. I'll use the spread operator on the shop object. This will expand the shop object's properties into the shop info object, essentially copying those properties from shop into shop info. Then I'll add in a new property, menu, which is an array consisting of the elements from the flavors array and the elements from the new flavors array. Let's see what that looks like. You can see that the shop info object has the properties and values from shop, and the menu property, which is an array with values from flavors and new flavors. When you use the spread operator with objects, you need to be careful of property names. If I create a new object, proprietor, with two properties, name and phone, now what will happen if I use the spread operator to combine the properties from shop and the properties from proprietor into shop info? Now I've got two objects, both with a property with the same name, name. Well, as you might expect, only one name property makes it into the shop info object. And that is the name property from proprietor, which overwrites the name property from shop. To make this work, I'll have to change name to, say, owner, so that the property names are different and they don't conflict. You might be wondering, when you use the spread operator, are you getting references to an object's properties or copies of an object's properties? In other words, when I use the spread operator on shop to add the properties from shop into shop info, am I referencing the properties in shop, or am I getting copies of the properties in shop? Well, let's see. We can test this by changing a value in shop info. Let's change the hours in shop info to 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. If the hours property in shop info is a reference to the property in the shop object, this will change the hours property in both objects. Well, you can see that this didn't change the hours in shop, but it did change the hours in shop info. So we know that the spread operator is making a copy of the property values. And the spread operator works this way for arrays too. You get a copy of the array values when you use the spread operator to expand items into a new array. And just remember that both in arrays and objects, this only works one level deep. Okay, you've seen how the spread operator allows you to expand array and object values into other arrays and objects. At the beginning of the video, I said that ... can mean two different operators depending on the context. Well, ... is also the rest operator. In a way, you can think of rest as kind of the opposite of spread. You use it when you want to bundle together arguments into one array parameter in a function call. Let's see an example. Here I've got a function makeMenu with three parameters, name, hours, and a flavors parameter, and I'm using the rest operator on that third parameter flavors. That means that the flavors parameter will be an array containing all arguments after the second argument. Of course, that means you can only use the rest operator on the last parameter of a function. So instead of expanding, like the spread operator does, the rest operator bundles arguments together into one array parameter. Let's give this a try. I'll call makeMenu and pass in the name of the shop, the hours, and 3 flavors of ice cream. Notice in the output, we can see that the parameter name and hours get the first and second arguments, respectively, while the third parameter, flavors, with the rest operator, gets all of the rest of the arguments and bundles them up into an array. What happens if we pass one argument to flavors? Well, we still get an array with one item. And if we pass no arguments to flavors, again, we still get an array with no items. So ... is used in two different ways, as the spread operator and as the rest operator. When it's used in front of the last parameter of a function, it's the rest operator and it bundles up arguments into an array for that parameter. Otherwise, it's used as the spread operator to expand array items or object properties into other arrays and objects and into function arguments. I hope you enjoyed this video about ... in JavaScript. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and thank you for watching.